I haven't seen anybody on YouTube, and I haven't seen a lot of stuff that people talk about how we give moves names. Why do you call it block and punch, or what do you call it, a Sotogari, or is it part of the wild horse's mane? So this is my own understanding. I'm not representing anybody with this. Moves can be named by cultural names, descriptive names, combative names, association, and that's my own term, or by number. Please let me give you an example. You punch, this is block and punch. I think we would call this rising block and punch. That's a description. Okay? Now for me, I lump descriptive and combative together. But if I were to do block and palm strike, that would be a combative name for what I'm doing. If I call this push my left hand down and push my right hand forward, that would be completely descriptive. Most people wouldn't say push your right hand forward, they'd say palm strike or hit. So descriptive and combative I lump together. The majority of the names in judo are descriptive. They're just the Japanese word for what you're doing. Osotogari is just how you say it in Japanese. Major, outside, reap. You know, koshi garuma, hip wheel. I wheel him over my hip. So they're just describing. And then the older jiu-jitsu names, and if you look in the back of the judo book at Koshiki no Kata, the names have more cultural names. We'll call them log drop, waterfall drop, twisting the neck plates, the plates that a soldier might wear. In Tai Chi, parting the wild horse's mane. That's a cultural name, not a descriptive name. Now, as a city boy, I don't have no idea what that means. But a farmer would know that I can't move a big horse with my muscles, so I kind of have to get in here like that and shove the horse over using my body. So that would make sense to a farmer. And we call a shoulder wheel a fireman's carry. Fireman's carry is cultural name. Shoulder wheel is descriptive. And those are all correct ways to name things. There's no correct or incorrect. Some systems name them by both. And then this one is my own name. I call it association because you associate it with something. Calling this lock a figure 4. Okay? If you put your feet together. He looks like the number 4. So I'm associating with something. And our arm lock here at the beginning, do Jukami here. Juji. Ju is Japanese for 10, which is an X. So this is my body this way and his body that way is the Ju. And in Chinese for 10 is Shi. And the name, in section 11, there's a move called cross swinging lotus kick. And it's kind of an Osotogari, but it's also called the character 10 throw. So if I go here and I have this wrist, and I grab this arm and I pull it across, and I block his hip. Just for the video, put this arm behind the back. This is the X, or the cross. That's, I think it's Ju in Japanese, Ju in Japanese and Shi in Chinese, and I apologize for butchering a foreign language. But one of the ways is I would actually snap his arm across my own arm, and you would do like an Osotogari-like trip, which could be we could do it safely, but we both have to cooperate. It's a pretty dangerous throw. So I call those association names. One of the worst ways to name things is by number. Technique 1, technique 2, technique 3. If your style only has 3 techniques, that's fine. I did a Korean art for a while called Kuksul-Won. In the white belt techniques, I think there's 6, 1 through 6, like chi exercises. And the first one is called 1, the second one is called 2, and the third one is called 3. And then there's 6 wrist escapes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And there's 15 throws, and the first throw is 1. And the first throw is 2. And the 15th throw is 15. Then you get your yellow belt, and you learn 5 throws, which are named 1 through 5, and 14 clothing escapes, which are named 1 through 14. And then there's these other 6 techniques, and then you get your blue belt, and you learn, I think it's 1 through 12 in the throws, and so, I mean, by the time you get to black belt, you're just, how do you throw 11, wrist lock 43? Your brain explodes. I can't do that. I hate that. I was tricked. When I took praying mantis, they called these things 1 through 6. And number 1 was, and then later, after I left the system, I saw somebody put the cultural names. This was Punch of the Falling Tree. And I can picture having a post here, and it makes me realize this is a shove punch. This was number 2. And then I realized the name for it was 2 straight punches and a punch to steal the heart. The 2 top punches set up the bottom punches. The name provides a clue. And in this little praying mantis move, this is called Dragon Wraps the Pole. It's not called Dragon takes a stupid, clumsy, awkward step forward for no apparent reason. You have that leg forward. It's called Dragon Wraps the Pole. It's an Asoto guard. The name provides a clue. So if we live in a country where the majority of our population is literate, we'll probably have descriptive or combative names, or you'll write them down. If we're less educated or illiterate, we'll use more cultural names. So usually the older system, the more cultural names, and more modern, descriptive and combative names. A few names in Tai Chi have mistranslations. Wave hands like clouds, or cloud hands. Now, I don't know if I'm completely accurate. My understanding is the founder of Young's Tai Chi was illiterate, Young Lu Chang, which doesn't mean you're not smart. You might be twice as smart as me, you just didn't learn to read. His grandson, Young Chang Fu, was translating. And if I say the English words there, and there, he heard the word and it was the wrong one, but he nodded. So it's not wave hands like clouds or cloud hands, it's moving hands. Another mistranslation, you've touched on section 5. I call section 5 the band through the back section. Mistranslation, the same character, it's actually lightning through the back. Because when I do that move, I'm supposed to hit your chest so hard that you feel it in your back. And when he heard his son say, like, your and your, he heard the word and didn't recognize the character. He went, yeah. So they called it band through the back. It's lightning through the back. And another mistranslation, in Sun Tai Chi, we have a move called appearing to seal and close, or apparent seal and closure. And I asked where that came from. It's a mistranslation of a move in Chen's Tai Chi called Liu Feng Sibi, 6 sealing, 4 closing. The characters sounded the same. So that move where in Sun Tai Chi where it pulled back and it kind of trapped your arm, you sealed me off. It seals me off and shuts me down.